So I'm Bo. And I think I've got life figured out. Great partner, naughty dog, good job, supportive family, hobbies, healthy, but I'm an idiot and I've just thrown it all away. What have I done? So a little bit about my backstory. I'm a trained teacher that's been teaching for the last 3 years. I've loved my job. I've loved my school that I work at. I love the people I work with. I love the holidays. Holidays are great. It's all been great, but I just quit. Before I can explain why I ruined my lifestyle, I need to explain a little bit more about myself. So up until very recently, I was as far from handy as you could get. Like I could probably tell you the right end of the hammer, but that's about all I knew. So much so that it was like embarrassing when you get in conversations and the person's like, hey, I'm a carpenter. And I'd be like, hey, cool. I'd have absolutely nothing to say to them. No idea. The point being, I had no idea how things were made, no idea about any of the trades, no idea about renovations. I was clueless. So I did what anyone does these days when they're trying to learn something new, and I went to YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. Stumbled across some creators that I really liked in the building and renovating space, and I became hooked. I had a hobby. I bought some tools, and then some more tools, and then some more tools, and eventually I'd taken over the garage. I started on some pretty minor projects and built my way up to making a little bench seat, and I even built a shed. It wasn't all just me, but I helped. Now, if you remember back to the start of the video where I said I had everything figured out, this next little bit I'm going to tell you is going to make you question that. So I haven't been making these renovations, these small improvements to my own house. I actually don't own a house and I don't rent. I'm actually a near 30-year-old living in his parents' basement. Now that's actually something that I used to get pretty embarrassed to tell people when it came up in conversations. But it's recently changed, and that's mostly because I bloody love it. I love living with my parents. Now, it's probably not what you think. My mum doesn't cook my meals for me. She doesn't do my washing. Actually, she does do that occasionally. But not all the time, just some of the time. I promise I'm a big boy, I'm not a loser, listen to me. Now my girlfriend and I live in an external part to the house, but we live on the same property as my parents. It is technically the basement, I guess, but we call it the granny flat to make it different. It's not big, it takes me 6.5 steps to get across it, but it's got everything we need: kitchen, bathroom, living, bedroom, and we love it, and we're grateful for it. Now, before I explain why I uprooted my cozy lifestyle and made this crazy decision, I need to drop some knowledge on you and explain why I'm living here. Hear me out. I'm not crazy. I live with my parents for 3 reasons. I call them the 3 C's. Community, cash, convenience. Community. So over time, I've reflected on the whole Western concept of kicking kids out of home when they're 18, head off to uni, do your own thing. And I've reconsidered it, and I think it's a little bit crazy. I mostly think this because when I was 18, I was an absolute idiot. Lazy, impulsive, stupid, arrogant. They were all things that describe me. Hopefully not so much these days, but I don't know, depends on the person you ask. If I didn't have the support of my family, I would have made a complete mess of my life, is what I'm saying. You're 18, you get kicked out in the world, you're expected to find a career that you'll enjoy, that you won't hate for the rest of your 60 years of working life, minimum. Support yourself with a decent job while you're doing it. Find a partner that you're gonna not hate. Maintain strong relationships with your friends and family. Find a place and people to live with. Start a family and make enough money to blow it all on a house and wedding. All while trying to be a decent human being that looks after themselves and the people around them. That's just bloody crazy. That's so much. Now, I will acknowledge there's probably people out there that are way more balanced and had things together way before I did. But it's still a lot to ask. So my point is, that is a crazy amount for one person to stay on top of. And that's where community comes in. So I've recently read this book called Hold On To Your Kids. It's this one. by Dr. Gordon Newfield and Gaber Mate. Just putting it back now. Bear with me. Oh, God. Now, this book emphasizes parents playing a bigger role in their children's lives, and that recently in Western culture, it's become more apparent that parents spend less and less time with their kids, and that's a problem. Now, it's a problem because of something called attachment. Now, when you hear attachment, think of like a baby duckling following its mum, or a lamb crying out for its mum in the paddock. Actually, I don't know anyone who's ever seen that. I have, but that's not important. It's what all animals do. They attach to an adult when they're a child, and they learn from that adult. That's how parents pass on their wisdom and values. The same thing happens for children, human beings. We attach to our adults. This process isn't just for when we're little babies. It continues until we can make our own way in the world. For most of us, our brains aren't fully formed until we're 25. This is how we come to understand the world and navigate our way through it. Now, if parents aren't present, you need to attach to something else. And this is where problems can happen. Now, if your parents aren't present, you need to attach to something else. This is why your dog isn't a whimpering mess because its mum's not around anymore. It's attached to someone else. It's attached to you. Love your dog. Give your dog a pat. For humans, we attach to someone else. Usually, it's our friends. Now, that might sound great. I'm attached to my friends. But think about it. Are your friends the people you want to be getting your values and wisdom from? Probably not. You probably don't want your mate Jeff, who sits on TikTok and eats Doritos all day.
Yeah, hope you're all happy now.
Giving you his wisdom or his values. It's not what you want. Things can go bad when this happens. Think of your friend in high school that was lovely, really nice, and then all of a sudden started hanging out with the wrong group of friends, and next minute they're a complete degenerate. And now they post random things to TikTok and Facebook that make you embarrassed to know them. Now, this is just a long-winded explanation explaining why. I just burped. I had steak for breakfast. Yeah. Now, this is just a long-winded explanation explaining why it's okay to stay with your parents until you've got things figured out. Community is important. Your parents are a great community. Now, obviously, this isn't applicable to everyone in every situation. There's going to be some terrible parents out there. I know this. It's not for everyone. And of course, I know that people have moved out of home at 18 and lived incredible, amazing lives. I know that. It's just a perspective that I think is worth considering and questioning in our culture today. And I'm grateful for it. Thanks, Mum and Dad. Love your mum. Second C, cash. This is a pretty simple one. Cost of living is high. Housing market is through the roof. I don't know, it is where I am at least. Australia's crazy. Per square metre of land, Australia is the second most expensive place to live. Which seems crazy because it's bloody massive. And the city I live within Australia just happens to be one of the most expensive places within the expensive place already. So much so that I read an article the other day where they were lauding how great it is that house prices have gone below $1 million. $1 million. That's not cheap. What? So buying a house seems so far out of reach, and renting just seems like dead money. So this leaves the opportunity of squatting, living in a tent, or staying with your parents. I choose the third option. It's just what I did. And this gives you the opportunity to save up and buy your own house. Last C, convenience. I am sorry, but I have not got everything figured out. I forget the milk. I leave the washing on the line. I forget to walk the dog. But that's okay, because there's someone to help out. I live with people that love me and want to help me. How great's that? Now, I'm not just a freeloader, I obviously reciprocate and help them out as well. That's how this convenience works. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. It's great. So yeah, that's the 3 C's. Why I live with my parents. And now to why I quit my job. And I'm slightly freaking out about it. My parents have been trying to renovate their house for years now, but have kept running into problems. First, it just seems to be so hard to get a tradesman where I live. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it seems like all the good tradesmen are booked out for like 2 years. You'd think it'd just be as easy as calling a bloke named Dave and he just rocks up and does everything you want. It's not that easy. Second is the price. Holy dooly. Some of the quotes my parents have got, it just blow my mind. Like, they're not putting a helipad in. Like, why is it that expensive? Probably because they do really good work and it's worth it, but I don't like paying money. I'm cheap. Like any good respecting son, I've offered my services up. Services of someone who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. I'm gonna give the renovations a crack. A bloke with literally no experience, no idea what he's doing, zero, none, a complete blank slate, who just a couple years ago couldn't tell the difference between a drill and an impact driver. This big knucklehead, me, I'm going to try and renovate the house. And I think I'm a little bit pooping my pants about it. Now, I'm already down the track with organising these and setting my life up to be able to do these renovations. But it's kind of like all dawned on me that this is a big ask. Like, usually renovations that we're talking about, like bathroom, kitchen, like you've got multiple tradesmen to do these jobs and it takes months and months. And I think I can do it? What was I thinking? Why did I do this? Why didn't I just stay in my cushy job, enjoy my holidays? And I'm forfeiting, like, getting paid as much as I used to? Oh, this may be a humongous mistake. So yeah, that's my situation. That's what I've got myself in for. And if you want to come along for the journey, make sure you smash the subscribe button and even the little bell thingy, I think that's good. Give that a hit so you can come along and see if this was a tremendous success and a great idea, or if this was a terrible failure, and just watch me wallow in self-misery. Thanks very much for watching this video and getting to the end. It would mean the world to me if you could give me a like and leave a comment. And if you want to see some of my other videos, mostly of me just stuffing things up, click right here, I think, or somewhere else. Yeah. And I'll catch you next time on Made by Bo. Me.